Halito, halito, halito. Halito, halito, halito. What's up, beloveds? Copper Color K, what's happening, good brother? Top of the morning, everybody. What's good with you? What's good with you? So, everybody enjoyed, a lot of people got a big response to some of the constitutional breakdowns that we did yesterday. Had a great show. Thanks again to Kerry Davis last night for having me on his show. It was an awesome build. Um, I hope everybody got their tickets. If you haven't already, make sure you take it on over to www.nograndmakillers.com. You should have your tickets by now. They are selling. The hotel link is available on the website. What's up, Doodle? Hi, Brother Lawrence. What's up, Renzo? Copper Color Brown. No One Special. Cherokee Territory. What's up, y'all beautiful ones? How y'all doing? Thank you so much. What's up, love? What's happening, good brother? Gotta holler at you. M. Dot, what's up, beauty? All y'all beautiful ones, how y'all doing out there? So I was saying that the hotel link is up on the website. You can certainly purchase your merchandise. We got a lot of things that are going to be added to the store. The genealogy website is almost complete. We are looking to, hopefully we'll have it launched by the Grandma Killers tour, the first date. If not, then we'll have it shortly thereafter. Got a couple of good drops from people. A lot of people excited about this, just as much as we are. We can't wait to see you there. We got jam-packed stuff going on. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be super fresh. And it's going to be something like nobody ever seen, has ever seen before, especially for so-called Black Indians, right? This is going to be some epic shit, history in the making. We are on the precipice of rewriting everything that we've been taught and putting out that truth, putting out that real. And I'm excited. Finally get to vindicate our ancestors from some of the things that we've been throwing on them, calling them slaves, saying they were raped. We have all these different excuses because we don't know. Now the days of not knowing are almost completely behind us. And it's good. The genealogy, it's a win-win situation. So let me see. I'm going to pick up where we left off. They asked to do the Pennsylvania Constitution. I think it was also New Jersey. I think the last one that I did yesterday was Texas. So I did New York, Mississippi, and I did Texas last. And I had some people that asked to do Georgia. I believe Georgia. They asked New Jersey, and it was some other states. So if you guys could think of any, we'll run through those constitutions right now. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Hey, Davita, what's up, beloved? Let's see. Hey, 20. Let's see what's say. So I'm gonna go into New Jersey. Someone did ask for New Jersey. I'll go through New Jersey. Let's see. And not saying that you guys can't read, but I'm also on Instagram, so I want you guys to know that's why I'm going to do the reading here. Let me see. Okay, so this is the New Jersey Constitution. Let's see, you have your preamble, and you have 11 articles. Okay, so let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see. We, the people of the state of New Jersey, grateful to the Almighty God. Again, God, the Almighty, the Creator, there's always some reference to a supreme being in every single preamble of every state constitution. somewhere in any constitution, it doesn't matter. You saw that I pulled up some of the Arab nations, like Oman, and Yemen, and I just pulled those random nations out of a hat just to show that they talk about their territory being an Islamic state. So you pretty much know what that comes with. That is what they are about. Allah is absolutely incorporated into their constitution, of those Islamic nations, the same as in every constitution of the United States. Same thing in Mexico, same thing in South America. It has some sort of supreme being in there that has been adopted or incorporated in there, whether people like it or not. So the New Jersey State Constitution preamble says, "We, the people of the state of New Jersey, grateful to Almighty God for the civil and religious liberty which He has so long permitted us to enjoy, looking to Him for a blessing upon our endeavors to secure and transmit the same unimpaired to succeeding generations, do ordain and establish the Constitution." So the Article 1 is going to be your New Jersey Bill of Rights, and it's not always going to be in Article 1. It may be tucked away in a different article, but you will always have a rights and privileges section of every state constitution. There's going to be a Bill of Rights there. Again, it's important people get a legal dictionary so that you can understand some of these common words, and have a better understanding of what they mean as applicable to law. So paragraph 1, this is going to be Article 1, Paragraph 1. All persons are by nature free and independent and have certain natural and unalienable rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and of pursuing and obtaining safety and happiness. So that is the right of everyone that lives in New Jersey to be able to obtain those goals. That is the state objective, which your rights are guaranteed by that particular paragraph of Article 1 of the New Jersey State Constitution. Paragraph 2 indicates that all political power is inherent in the people. So therefore, the strangers that you don't know, that don't know you, do not really get to decide. They only decide because you, the people, have not given your voice to what it is that you want. Okay, I think it's okay. Give me 1 second, y'all. Just want to make sure that this is all right. I see a. Okay. I'm back. You guys can hear me? Is that your one cousin confirming that you can hear me now? You can get a Black's Law Dictionary. You can definitely get a Black's Law Dictionary. I see someone asking where to get one from. There's Bouvier. There are plenty. There's Smith's dictionary. There's all sorts of legal dictionaries that you can get. I like the first and second edition. Certainly the fourth. All of them are sufficient. You'll see the newer ones have been updated. A lot of words that are in the newer ones, in the old ones, are no longer there. So you'll see the difference. It can't hurt to have more than one legal dictionary, but it's definitely imperative that you do. Okay, so back to paragraph 2. Government is instituted for the protection, security, and benefit of the people, and they have the right at all times to alter or reform the same whenever the public good may require it. So for the people that have different fears, this is where you will go to make sure that you are protected by any government forces, agencies that you feel are violating any of your rights. You have to push that issue. It doesn't matter what it is that they're saying about you. You want to push the issue of what it is that you are saying has been violated. You have to make a note of that. If they feel that they have something against you, they ask you to appear in court. You certainly have the right to counter. You have the right to rebut anything that is presented towards you. If someone makes you an offer and you do not refuse it, that is the exact same thing as accepting it. So that is section B. It says the people reserve unto themselves the power to recall, after at least 1 year of service, any elected official in this state or representing this state in the United States Congress. The legislature shall enact laws to provide for such recall elections. Any such laws shall include a provision that a recall election shall be held upon petition of at least 25% of the registered voters in the electoral district of the officials sought to be recalled. So there is a lot of power in that, especially getting rid of politicians that you feel aren't living up to what it is that they are saying that they're going to do for you. So you have paragraph 3, and it says, no person shall be deprived of the inestimable privilege of worshiping Almighty God in a manner agreeable to the dictates of his own conscience, nor under any pretense whatever be compelled to attend any place of worship contrary to his faith and judgment, nor shall any person be obliged to pay tithes, taxes, or other rates for building or repairing any church or churches, place or places of worship, or for the maintenance of any minister or ministry, contrary to what he believes to be right, or has deliberately and voluntarily engaged to perform. So tithes are not necessary in the state of New Jersey. So the pastors can't have fundraisers because the church needs a new roof. My wife and I are struggling trying to keep this church alive. So could you donate? So you notice now, this will give you an idea of where certain behaviors from different, happen based off of different regions. So, in the state of New Jersey, they can't do that particular kind of pandering that, let's say, that they can do in Texas. So at any point where your rights are infringed on by any church or religious organization in regards to this, that is against your constitutional rights in the state of New Jersey, and therefore there's got to be some sort of fine and or imprisonment or some sort of judgment, punishment that would be a remedy to you as a result of what it is that you went through with those type of situations. So that's how you would fight a church organization or some sort of situation where, essentially your rights are being violated as far as religious services are concerned in the state of New Jersey. So nobody's obligated to pay any taxes, tithes, or anything, or contribute one dime to any ministry. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. That's not something that you're going to see in the Bible Belt states, in any of the Southern Belts. You can guarantee that is something you're not going to see in any of those constitutions. Okay, so paragraph 4 says there shall be no establishment of one religious sect in preference to another. No religious or racial test shall be required as a qualification for any office or public trust. Paragraph 5, no person shall be denied the enjoyment of any civil or military right, nor be discriminated against in the exercise of any civil or military right, nor be segregated in the militia or in the public schools because of religious principles, race, color, ancestry, or national origin. So how many people in the state of New Jersey are aware that at some point your civil rights may have been denied or discriminated against in your decision to exercise any of your rights? That in itself is a violation in the state of New Jersey. So, paragraph 6, this is still Article 1, the Bill of Rights. Every person may speak freely, write, and publish his sentiments on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of that right. No law shall be passed to restrain or abridge the liberty of speech or of the press. In all prosecutions or indictments for libel, the truth may be given in evidence to the jury, and if it shall appear to the jury that the matter charged as libelous is true, and was published with good motives and or justifiable ends, the party shall be acquitted, and the jury shall have the right to determine the law and the facts. So careful what you say about somebody in Jersey. That's anywhere. Libel can get you jammed up. There has not been a lot of people that have sued for libel, not especially Black people. They haven't really been able to stay abreast on some of these things that they should really be mad at, such as being mislabeled incorrectly, That is libel. Calling someone an African American when they're an American Indian, that is an untruthful statement that can cause potential harm, right? So, no person shall be held to answer for, this is paragraph 8, no person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense unless on the presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases of impeachment or in cases now prosecuted without indictment or arising in the Army or Navy or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. No person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense unless on the presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases of impeachment or in cases now prosecuted without indictment, or arising in the Army or Navy or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. No person shall be held to answer. That's not going to stop people from volunteering to answer for a criminal offense. Sans any indictment. Doesn't stop people from showing up in those instances and participating in these types of controversies where your state of New Jersey, the Constitution is pretty clear. The right of trial by jury, this is paragraph 9. The right of trial by jury shall remain inviolate, but the legislature may authorize the trial of civil cases by a jury of 6 persons. The legislature may provide that in any civil case, a civil cause, a verdict may be rendered by not less than 5/6 of the jury. The legislature may authorize the trial of the issue of mental incompetency without a jury. Let me see. This is interesting. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall have the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury, to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel in his defense. A little more leeway than they have in New York. It's a trip over the bridge. A little more leeway. Paragraph 11. No person shall, after acquittal, be tried for the same offense. So that's basically double jeopardy. All persons shall, before conviction, be eligible for pretrial release. Pretrial release may be denied to a person if the court finds that no amount of monetary bail, non-monetary conditions of pretrial release, or combination of monetary bail and non-monetary conditions would reasonably assure the person's appearance in court when required, or protect the safety of any other person or the community, or prevent the person from obstructing or attempting to obstruct the criminal justice process. It shall be lawful for the legislature to establish by law procedures, terms, and conditions applicable to pretrial release and the denial thereof authorized under this provision. So basically, New Jersey in the Bill of Rights, they're not leaving you without a lot of answers as far as, and then that goes like, it's a total difference because in New York, I know they ask a lot. This one question the judge will ask, do you understand? And us like dumbasses will sit there and go, yeah, knowing damn well we don't understand. And we agree that we are standing under some bullshit that we want to call bullshit after we already agreed to. It's usually the problem. Let me see. I think my camera went out again. Hold on one second. Me 1 second. I think this other camera went out. So there's a lot going on in the state of New Jersey. Really interesting things. The Bill of Rights is pretty clear. No person shall be imprisoned for debt in any action or in any judgment founded upon contract, unless in cases of fraud, nor shall any person be imprisoned for a militia fine in a time of peace. So you can form a militia. I don't know what people, they have a lot of misconceptions, specifically regarding, martial law. And when it's declared and at which time. Everybody, and you'll see in most of these state constitutions, you have the right to form a militia, and the military is also subordinate to civil power. So they can't be corded up because we have work to do, top secret, top secret. They, have to force themselves into my house to do whatever it is, whatever mission they may have. There's no way that it goes against my rights. Granted, at a time like that, you're probably not going to be able to get anyone to listen if there's ever some sort of major civic unrest, and certainly who's going to be around to hear some shit like that. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless in case of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. That's another thing that we saw in the New York State Constitution. A lot of people have never been able to have their writ of habeas corpus heard in any form or fashion. That is, again, not only is it against your civil rights, but it's also against your rights in the state of New York. And here you can clearly see it's against your rights in the state of New Jersey, and also against your constitutional rights. So regardless of whatever it is that these charges and things like that may be that they may have presented against you, it does not mean that they are not wrong. So you got to understand that statutes and codes are not law. They codify the law through statutes and codes, but they are, in fact, not law. And with that being said, there gives you some grounds to stand on, and you can always have a proper rebuttal, right? For pretty much any situation. Any situation. And if you have a right to face your accusers, then that means something in terms of being able to crush the dynamics of confidential informants, right? Because you never have an opportunity to face your accuser, do you? When in all actuality, you have every right to do so. Again, so here's paragraph 15 of Article 1, and it says so in New Jersey, the military shall be in strict subordination to the civil power. Martial law what? Paragraph 16, no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house. This is what I mean about some sort of civic unrest, and you think that the National Guard thinks that they're going to sit up in my house and post up. Yeah, you can't be quartered in my house, and that's without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war. So even during war, they are not able to do that, except in a manner prescribed by law. So you want to find out what the fine print is on that. Yesterday, I think I used Ballotpedia. You can also use Justia. Justia is just as good. I don't think Justia has the Roman numerals, but in order to keep your brain sharp, just mess with Ballotpedia because it's important. You don't always see it laid out, and it looks like it's way more complicated than it is. But I promise you, the law is really plain and specific in layman's terms. It's these statutes and codes that become this jargon that nobody understands, but we agree to accept them as a fact, or we agree to plead guilty to these statutes and codes when in fact that's not even the case. So this is, I just skipped past 17. So now you have paragraph 18, Article 1. The people have the right freely to assemble together to consult for the common good, to make known their opinions to their representatives, and to petition for redress of grievances. So whatever it is that's pissing you off in the state of New Jersey, here it is in your Constitution, in your Bill of Rights. It's giving you a clear way to make your headache go away. What is the Negro complaining about? This is part of the reason why white people get so upset, or they seem to be so disconnected. It is because the lack of us knowing what our rights are, we intrude, we encroach, we infringe on other people's rights by doing so. Our ignorance makes hell for other people. Our civic lack of responsibility makes it hell for other people that are for the nation build, however they see it, whether it's the same way we see it or not. These people feel like they're entitled. I showed you clips from gangs in New York. They feel that they were here, born right way, and they have a say in it. And who's to say that they don't? We didn't do this shit by ourselves. Like, let's just keep it real. We didn't do this shit by ourselves. The enumeration of rights and privileges shall not be construed to impair or deny others retained by the people. That's paragraph 21. A victim of a crime. So now this is paragraph 22. Again, with the Bill of Rights, a victim of a crime shall be treated with fairness, compassion, and respect by the criminal justice system. A victim of a crime shall not be denied the right to be present at public judicial proceedings, except when prior to completing testimony as a witness, the victim is properly sequestered in accordance with the law or rules governing the courts of the state of New Jersey. A victim of a crime shall be entitled to those rights and remedies as may be provided by the legislature. For the purposes of this paragraph, victim of a crime means A, a person who has suffered physical or psychological injury. Having plenty of people suffered psychological injury, so New Jersey, it is easy to get a form of reparations in the state of New Jersey. A form of reparations. Look up the word reparations. Look up the word reparations, so that you don't take it as to the slavery trip and across the fucking Atlantic and places that you don't need to be. Look up that word. Restitution may be a word that people are more familiar with, especially in terms of crime victims. You hurt somebody, you're injured, you have to pay their doctor's bills. That's restitution, right? So now paragraph 23 basically piggybacks off of 22, and this talks about employers and the New Jersey state wage. So if people are concerned about if they're getting paid what the state of New Jersey says, $8.25 per hour, whichever is more, that is the going rate of pay for minimum wage in the state of New Jersey. It has nothing to do with the federal guidelines, but this is what it's hitting for in New Jersey. It's very open and plain. Very open and plain. Let me see. There was a couple of other states that people wanted to do. I think Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a Commonwealth state. What's up, L. Austin? Hey, Tiffy. What's up, beauty? What up, coach? What happening, Ken, folks? I'm born here. How y'all doing? What's up, Haya? So I think somebody said yesterday Pennsylvania, so I'm going to jump to the Pennsylvania Constitution. 1 second here. Commonwealths are very interesting. Believe it or not, New York is still a Commonwealth. As long as it's not republic to the Constitution, it clearly says that. It's also a colony. You might want to look around. If you know, you might want to look around in your state constitution for the word colony and see if it's implied. I'm only going through Article 1. You have to find, you'll understand that each constitution has different amounts of articles, different amounts of sections. Sometimes they're called sections, sometimes they're called paragraphs, whatever. You can look for them under the article and go through them and see what it is. Make yourself a memorandum of law. You place yourself into the narrative to where you know that these are your rights in whatever state that you are currently doing business in, you are currently living in or residing. Because you reside somewhere doesn't mean that you live there, it just means that you are doing business there. This is why they want you to report it. They don't want you getting money out of town and don't pay the taxes there in the town, right? It's a whole bunch of levels to it. But definitely the basic understanding, you absolutely want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on in your area. What New York might be having may be totally unacceptable and out of the question in Texas. What's happening in North Carolina may be something completely different of what they're doing in Oklahoma. Oklahoma Constitution, that is a horse of another color. We're going to go back to that. This is probably the 4th time that I went back to the Oklahoma Constitution, but we definitely going to get back to that. There's some interesting clauses in there that I am pretty sure affect Indian country in a way in which we're not familiar with, that we need to be a lot more knowledgeable on. So I'm going to do the state of Pennsylvania Constitution. Excuse me. Okay, and again, the preamble. So now Pennsylvania, in their preamble, they notify you that they are still, in fact, a Commonwealth. Peace and love, Soul Sessions. What's up, not your average? 58 Wayne, how you doing, beloved? What's happening, y'all beautiful people? I see y'all out there. Mario, Just Vonnie, hey. Hi, Nina. What's up, beloved? Demir. What's up, girl? Okay, so we, the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, grateful to the Almighty God for the blessings of civil and religious liberty, and humbly invoking his guidance, do ordain and establish this Constitution. So right off the whip, Pennsylvania is a commonwealth. So Article 1 is called the Declaration of Rights. It's not the Bill of Rights. It's always going to be worded one way or another. Rights and privileges, the Declaration of Rights, the Bill of Rights. You want to find out what your protections are in whatever state you're doing business in. Even if you're going to visit, you better know what the hell the law of the land is where you're going. Again, as I indicated yesterday, your state that you were born in is your actual country. Your country is your state. So there's 28 sections to Article 1, which in the state of Pennsylvania is called the Declaration of Rights. There's 28 sections. I read the preamble. So Section 1 says inherent rights of mankind. All men are born equally free and independent and have certain inherent and indefeasible rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty. So these are places where, and I just want to put this out there, when it says defending life and liberty, like the Kentucky Constitution is really fucking plain. You step across the gun line to try and take my life, I have the right to kill you and ask questions after, right? A lot of those places, you wanna take that preamble to literal context. So when people are sitting there crying, oh, they're killing us, you have a right to defend yourself for your liberty. The disposition of the Amistad case. Now here it is, you have a bunch of so-called slaves that get kidnapped on a boat. They're heading to Cuba to be traded and sold on this Portuguese ship. The ship is that they then kill everybody on the ship except for like 3 people, tell them to take them back to Sierra Leone, and instead I think they dock in Long Island or perhaps Connecticut. John Quincy Adams ended up defending. Later President John Quincy Adams was the person that defended the men from the Amistad trial. If you look at those transcripts from the Amistad trial, there's no indication that they needed a translator, which means that they very well could have been freed Americans that fought in the Revolutionary War, that were actually part of the American Colonization Society project, which established Sierra Leone first, because they didn't need a translator. They didn't speak any of those languages. They spoke English and got along just fine with all of the people that they were jailed with while they were awaiting trial for killing everybody on the boat. The final disposition of the Amistad trial says that they had the right to kill everyone. Since these men were free in their own country, they had the right to kill to protect their liberty and life. That is the disposition of the Amistad case, not just some, hey, white people were really nice to them and they won their case. This is in the 1840s, during a hotbed of slavery, in the middle, in the complete thick of it. Actually, in the beginnings of what we now know is the Civil War that ended in the 1860s, but it began in the 1840s. So that was the disposition. So life or liberty, if you feel like your life is on the line and a cop is chasing you or anybody is accosting you to do you some physical harm, it never dawned on people that they are fighting for their lives, right? But then once their lives are taken, you would wish that it was better them than you, right? I'm just saying, I'm not telling anyone to harm anybody, but in terms of what it is the people are saying that they are upset and they're mad about, there's a remedy and a cure for all of the shit. You just got to know where to look for it. So inherent rights of mankind. So basically it tells you all men are equally and independent and have certain inherent and indefeasible rights, among which are those enjoying and defending life and liberty, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and reputation. So there it is, that your public name is important. So if they're calling you a felon, if they're calling you something that is no longer true, or the facts aren't all presented, that also leads into what? Could lead into libel, right? It could lead into a libel suit. And also you're defending your reputation. If you don't think your public reputation is important, then you know what happens to those people. Have to defend your name. You have to defend your company from which you belong, because it is about your race. You don't want to embarrass grandma. You don't want to embarrass grandpa. That's where the name came from. So Section 3 says, and this is about religious freedom, all men have a natural and indefeasible right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own consciences. No man can of right be compelled to attend, erect, or support any place of worship or to maintain any ministry against his consent. No human authority can, in any case whatsoever, control or interfere with the rights of conscience, and no preference shall ever be given by law to any religious establishments or modes of worship. So you kind of know where Pennsylvania's coming from. You can't violate someone's rights with religion in Pennsylvania also. No person who acknowledges the being of a God and a future state of rewards and punishments shall, on account of his religious sentiments, be disqualified to hold any office or place of trust or profit under his commonwealth. So basically, those people in the subways that scream, "Oh, the end is near, turn to God, the end is near," if they decide to be your mayor, you can't hold that against them. That's how zealous they may feel about a thing. So it's pretty interesting. But again, it still can't infringe on what your rights are. So then in Section 5 talks about elections shall be free and equal, and no power, civil or military, shall at any time interfere to prevent the free exercise of the right of suffrage. So anytime you see suffrage, suffrage is always going to deal with voting and politics. You'll see that in those sections. That's what realm that word is going to be attached to. Women's suffrage, women wanting the right to vote, the same thing. Negro suffrage, Negroes wanting the right to vote. You see, Section Freedom of the Press. Okay, Section 8 of Article 1 of Pennsylvania. And again, this is for the people that always talk about unlawful search and seizures, warrantless searches. That's on you, buddy. If you don't say no, then they get to do what they want. And if you do say no and they do what they want, you cash out on their ass. Real simple. It's not as hard as everybody makes it. It's only hard to the nigga that don't know how to clap back. The people shall be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and possessions from unreasonable searches and seizures, and no warrant to search any place or to seize any person or things shall issue without describing them as nearly as may be, nor without probable cause, supported by the oath or affirmation subscribed by the affiant. Again, so you know that no judge, no competent judge in any jurisdiction can sign a warrant between 10:01 p.m. and 5:59 a.m. So when you're pulled over to the road at 3 in the morning and he asks to search your car and you say no, and he insists on searching the car and he insists on bringing the dogs, you may want to ask to go get a warrant. You know you're going to be sitting out there until 6 in the morning. Keep that in mind. I think the officer may just get a little bit more frustrated. He may throw a little hissy fit, but he's not going to fucking touch you. And while you're doing that, while you're popping that shit and you're saying it in a nice, non-aggressive, non-combative, non-belligerent manner, you might want to be on the phone with the sheriff, since all calls are recorded for quality assurance purposes. Why officer assholes over here talking to you? You might want to be on the other phone talking to somebody that they don't want to talk to. It's just a thought. It works for me. It's definitely something that will work in Pennsylvania. And no warrant to search any place or seize any person or thing shall issue without describing them as nearly as may be. So you're pulled over to the side of the road. Is a cop going to be able to do a PDF fill-in sign and say, hey, I swear this guy is a black man, and I swear that he has this Nissan Toyota or this Nissan Toyota Camry he has, and I swear he's got something in here that it just smells like he's got 10 kilos of cocaine in here. What probable cause? Who's getting up at that time of night? What judge can do anything from the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m.? So also, when it comes down to warrants, search warrants, even if they do have a warrant, you better check and make sure, because when the judge does sign a warrant, there's two, in certain places, depends on the jurisdiction, there may be two places that the judge has to sign. One, that they okay the warrant, and two, that they signed it between lawful hours. Sometimes they leave it blank. Even on your plea agreement, if you take a guilty plea and you're signing your plea agreement, guess what other signatures are supposed to be on that document? Not just yours, your attorney, and also the prosecutor or the defense attorney that's against you. Their names are also, their signatures are also required to make it a binding agreement. Original ink. Can't be photocopied after you plead guilty, you get sentenced, and they send you away for 5 years. Too late now. That 5 years, you could have gave it right back. They offer you heroin, you'd say no. They offer you 5 years and you say okay. Who's the killer? So there's that on search and seizures. Seizures for Article 1, Section 8 of the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Constitution. Rights of accused in criminal prosecutions. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused have a right to be heard by himself and his counsel, to demand the nature and cause of the accusation against him, to meet the witnesses face to face. Can you imagine being able to sit down in front of your motherfucking accuser face to face? This is how plain the language is in the Pennsylvania state constitution. I'm not saying any words that are completely unfamiliar. There's no reason for people to be intimidated by knowing what their rights are. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Not knowing your rights, you ain't really that tough. You ain't that tough. You can't be, because you be tough to me, but when Mr. Old Pilgrim come over here talking some shit to you, you ain't got the same temperature. You don't keep the same temperature. That's a fact. You don't keep the same temperature. So in all criminal prosecutions, the accused have the right to be heard by himself and his counsel, to demand the nature and cause of the accusation against him, to meet with the witnesses face to face, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and in prosecutions by indictment or information, a speedy public trial by an impartial jury of the vicinage. He cannot be compelled to give evidence against himself, nor can he be deprived of his life, his liberty, or property, unless by the judgment of his peers or the law of the land. The use of a suppressed voluntary admission or voluntary confession to impeach the credibility of a person may be permitted, and shall not be construed as compelling a person to give evidence against himself. So any suppressed, you can't turn it back. So whatever statement you make regarding yourself, it could be used against you. It's not compelled. It's not to be construed as being, like making you use your own shit against you. It's not the same. And they're making that distinction. One second. Okay. Okay, now this is section 11. And it says, the courts to be open. Suits against the Commonwealth. All courts shall be open, and every man for an injury done him in his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall have remedy by due course of law, and 8, and justice administered without sale, denial, or delay. Suits may be brought against the Commonwealth in such a manner, in such courts, in such cases as the legislature may by law direct. Not going to be that hard to get at somebody in Pennsylvania. You can sue the Commonwealth. No one can delay, no one can stop any of that. So that's some power right there. No power of suspending laws shall be exercised unless by the legislature or by its authority. Section 13, bail, fines, and punishments. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel punishments inflicted. Prisoners to be bailable. Habeas corpus is section 14. All prisoners shall be bailable by sufficient sureties unless for capital offenses, when the proof is evident of a presumption great, and the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in case of rebellion or invasion. So if your habeas corpus, again, this is another state, this is about the 4th or 5th one that we've been through, that says that unless it's rebellion or invasion that your habeas corpus is suspended, this is against your rights. So this means that you haven't been in any situation where they've accused you of rebellion or invasion, and you haven't been able to exercise your freedom to a writ of habeas corpus. There's your charge right there. This is how you cash out. It's how you cash out. It's how you cash out. So now you have Section 15, and this is special criminal tribunals. You don't even hear that word too often. No commission shall issue creating special temporary criminal tribunals to try particular individuals or particular classes of cases. So, ex post facto laws, impairment of contracts. This is important. No ex post facto law, nor any law impairing the obligation of contracts or making irrevocable any grant of special privileges or immunities shall be passed. No person shall be attainted of treason or felony by the legislature. Now listen to this. No attainder shall work corruption of blood except during the life of the offender, forfeiture of estate to the Commonwealth. So again, in these constitutions also, you can, especially for the people that have inherited land from the ancestors or different things, and we've left the South. So for people that have migrated from the South into the more industrial metropolitan cities, your property is still your property. It doesn't matter if 10 generations have went by and you guys have been to New York. You've long since gone from Big Mama's place down in Alabama. Your property is still going to be your property. They know especially a lot of the newer constitutions, I would say from the 1890s forward, they have clauses in there or amendments where they speak about you still having your property. So whether or not you have a felony, you still the same person that was kinfolk or bloodline descendant or heir to whatever particular individual. So they're very big on property and how it stays in the family in these states. There's also going to be homestead clauses within all of these constitutions. Don't just think that it's in the South. There's homesteads that our families have had all over the place, all over the country. And definitely look into them and see what those laws are about. They do give you some sort of tax exemptions. I know in New York State, I think you may, like for the 5 boroughs, I think that Queens was probably you can homestead in Queens. There's so many buildings I haven't seen any instances in Manhattan where buildings were homesteaded, but I know that was something that we were looking to do with our family. So looking into the homestead, you get I think it's $165,000 worth of different types of exemptions. So definitely look into that. How can you turn whatever property you have into a homestead? What the requirements are in your state and how you qualify. So you definitely want to look into that. So that's Pennsylvania. I don't know if people have any other states that they were looking at. So I did run through those, and I really didn't have a whole bunch else to say. I just kind of wanted to put that out there. It was good food for people yesterday. They really enjoyed it. If you haven't done so already, www.nograndmakillers.com. You can definitely cop your t-shirts. We got the fly gear, the No Grandma Killer wear. Wild Feather store is open. Again, your tickets, you can go to Eventbrite or you can go directly to the website and purchase your tickets. www.nograndmakillers.com. Shout out to Wild Indian One. You definitely want to subscribe to that channel on YouTube if you haven't already. Young brother coming out of Chicago, full of fire and flame, full of fire and flame. Shout out to Chief Cali Speaks. And all the other beautiful people in Indian country. Big shout out to the beloved Chief Warhorse and Mr. Waltho. We love you, Mr. Waltho. I got to play some clips of Mr. Waltho. He's a bomb elder, and he tells it how it is. We love listening to them. We love hearing from them. That's the end of that. Everything is healthy. Cousin, I love you too, darling. I will call you later. I will call you shortly. I hope to see all y'all at the No Grandma Killers tour. Y'all make sure y'all come on through now. It's going to be a beautiful thing. We making history. While other motherfuckers making, what are they making? You be the judge of that. All right, beautiful ones. I'll catch up with y'all soon. Chapisa la chique.